Morning, Dwayne here, Dry Creek Wrangler School. Been a couple weeks, I guess, since I put the last video up, but today is Saturday, the what is it, the 12th, and so it's the end of our second week of school here in Wyoming. And what's that?
13th.
Mama says the 13th. That's why she's here, keeping me straight and right. And so it's been a very good 2 weeks. Things were getting things ironed out, and I figured out the changes from Tennessee and what we got here. So it's been very good. Over the last several years, I've had a lot of different horses. And some of those horses were really fast. Some of those horses were very athletic. Some of those horses were very smart, very easy to train. Some were very easy to get along with, very, very mild-mannered and easygoing. Some were really sure-footed in the mountains. A lot of different abilities. But the most important ability that I always required, and that I require today in any of my horses, is dependability. When I get a horse in, we bought a horse a couple weeks ago, and he's been worked on a ranch. He's been off for a while, and he's a good horse. He's a solid horse, but there's some holes in his training. And so I asked myself, when we get this horse, what's the first thing I'm going to work on with this horse? It's the first thing I work on with every horse. I'm going to teach this horse to be dependable. Now, no horse has got all abilities. There's no horse out there that has every single ability that a horse could have. But they all need to be dependable. Now, I've told stories on this little horse before. Obviously, this little guy made an impact on me. We had that outfit that I worked for in Alaska. We had that halflinger named Rebel. Now, I heard preachers say in church preaching when I was growing up that, they want the congregation to be there for work day and to be there for this and be there for that. And they'd always say the greatest ability you could have is availability, is to be available. Well, that's just not true. All right. Rebel was always available. If you walked out in the pen with a halter, Rebel would walk up and stick his nose in the halter. You did not have to hunt him down. You didn't have to catch him. He was always available. Rain or shine, it didn't matter. If you went out there with a halter, Rebel came up and said, "Here, pick me." The problem was you take Rebel out front, start saddling him and head out, and the odds were as good as they were not that he was going to somewhere along the way say, "Yeah, well, I've had enough." Buck you off and run back to the barn. And I think over the years, that was several years ago, I think he got older and got more dependable at the time. But Rebel was always available. But you couldn't trust him. You couldn't depend on him. You couldn't say, "I know that this horse is going to be with me for the next 4 hours, right there every step of the way." And for me, I've ridden with guys. I know guys that have horses. They're good horses. Good cow horses, tough horses, a lot of cow sense, a lot of bottom, which means a lot of stamina, a lot of go. But they never know when that horse out in the middle of the day, in the middle of nowhere, is going to just, for no reason, just put their head down and start bucking. Now, some guys like that. Some guys tolerate that. I do not tolerate it. I do not tolerate it. I will not have a horse that does that. I don't care how tough that horse is. I don't care how cowy that horse is. All right. I don't care how sure-footed on the rocks he is. If he's treacherous, if he's not dependable, he goes down the road. He gets sold. All right. And I'm the same way with people. I have apprentices come in. We have people, every once in a while we hire somebody to come in. And I don't worry about their abilities. I can teach their abilities. All right. If they say, "I've never done this and I don't know this and I don't know that," I don't worry about that. All right. Are you dependable? And that's what you need to develop in your life. That's an ability. You say, Dwayne, I'm not real smart. Well, welcome to the club. I'm not either. Dwayne, I'm not real athletic. I'm not either. That's the reason when I was a kid, I started riding horses in the first place. I was clumsy. I was awkward. I moved awkward, but when I got on the horse, I felt like I was a part of something physical that was powerful and graceful, but I wasn't. All right, so I get it. See, Dwayne, I don't have a lot of background experience. I wasn't taught a lot of things. The one thing you can develop in yourself to improve yourself without going to school, without going to get training, without doing any of that, is to become dependable. The one thing you can do to improve your value on your job site. Maybe you work in heavy equipment, all right? Maybe you work for a framing crew. Maybe you work for an electrician, whatever it is. You say there's guys been in this for 20 years, and so they're at the top of the food chain and I'm at the bottom, and I'm the least valuable employee on the job site. How do I improve my value on the job site? Become the most dependable employee. You can't be the most experienced. You can't always be the most skilled, but you can be the most dependable. You can be the one that's there first. You can be the one that when there's nothing to do and everybody's sitting around doing nothing, you can pick up a broom. You can be the one that is always, the boss knows that he don't have to worry about you. When I have horses, I need a horse that I don't have to worry about. Now I have horses that can do things better than other horses, and so when I have something I need done, I'll pick a horse based on which horse is best for that. Like if I had to go out now and do a really tough ride right now and head out across the mountains, 8 or 10 miles, 12 miles, whatever it is, I'd pick Biscuit. Because Biscuit here lately has proven to be the toughest little rascal on the place. Boone is my favorite horse, but Boone, he's still getting treatments and stuff. He's still having hip problems. And Mouse is lazy. And Tia has tender feet. And so you see what I'm saying? So when it comes to skill, I pick the horse that is best. Now, if I was going to be sorting pairs for a couple hours for a ranch in a round pen, I'd get Boone. So the skill is there, but the dependability, they all have dependability. I insist on it. And if I have a horse that's dishonest and they're not going to be dependable, I'll sell them. They're gone. They have no, I won't feed them. I won't feed a horse, a dog, or a person that I can't depend on. I won't do it. All right. And some of you are cringing at that, and you think that's a little primitive, a little harsh. Well, that's a little bit reality. I've been on jobs before where I was definitely not in the top hand. I wasn't in the top half of the top hands. But it's very rare I've ever been on a job site where I didn't become the most dependable fellow on a job site. When everybody showed up, we're supposed to be there at 8, I'm there at 7:50, sitting there waiting. Now they may not show up like this ranch I worked at in Colorado. Be there at 8 o'clock. I'd be there at 8 o'clock. Everybody shows up at 8:15, 8:20, 8:30. But I'm there at 7:50, and I'm going around picking up loose grass, hay grass strings and cleaning them up and checking the oil in the ranch truck and just doing whatever. So when they show up, they're not waiting on Dwayne. Now, I couldn't rope like them fellas, and I didn't know a lot of stuff they knew. But I was the most dependable fellow on the place, and that is a fact. Not the most skilled, but the most dependable. And so dependability covers a multitude of sins, if I can rewrite scripture a little bit. Okay? And so I just want to encourage you this morning. We started riding Reba. I took Reba out the other morning now. You get up at a certain age and you reach a certain physical limitations, and you start feeling kind of old. And some of us guys, every once in a while, we do something stupid to prove that we still can do something stupid. And so we've got the horses all turned out on the mountain up there. They're out in a 200-acre pasture. And we keep one horse up in the pen to go jingling the horses. And for those of you who are not familiar with the life and the terms, you saddle the one horse that you have, and you go out and you round up the other horses, and you literally drive them into the corral. Well, I had brought Reba. Now, Reba's a green broke mule. I've been on her twice in Tennessee, but never been on the trail with her. So I had brought Reba down and worked her in the arena down here a little bit. So we went up, and I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to help Will jingling the horses on this half-broke mule this morning. And I said, I want to find out where she is for real, for sure, and for certain. Well, I did. I found out. We went out there, and now a mule is not, unless you have an exceptional mule, a mule is not the best thing to jingle horses in on, because mules have a natural instinctive bonding with horses. And so the horses, when you're jingling horses, they tend to lope away. And so a mule kind of gets excited and says, oh my goodness, they're leaving me. Where a good horse would just be like, he's just there, and he'll stay at that slow lope. It's all good. She kind of panicked when they come by. And so we took off, and she bucked on me a little bit. Not hard, not enough to get me out of the saddle, but she did, and then she threw her head up and grabbed that bit and run off. And but I stayed in the saddle, and we got the mules in, and we got the horses in. And so we went riding that day. And so that's what I concentrated on the ride. We're just working on her listening to me, because I need to make her dependable. I need her to be dependable. Okay? So just a little bit of encouragement today. If you're looking lately at your life and all the things you cannot do, you can always be dependable. You can always be. Okay? The cigar today is, so there's a company called Aganorsa Leaf. They sent me some cigars, and this is the JFR Titan that came in that box with them. I haven't looked it up. I wanted to try it without, when I try a new cigar, I'll try it without ever looking up the reviews or anything on it. And this isn't a sponsor. This is just a cigar I'm trying today, but I like it. It's a good cigar. Nice and full-bodied and rich, and so the other thing is you guys noticed the hat on my head, and so when I first started these videos 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago, I had the brown hat that I've had so much comment on and so much questions on, and Rand's hat. Been in contact with Rand's hat, and Rand's hat is now partnered with Dry Creek Wrangler School. Okay, this is Rand's hat. Built me a new hat, and the old hat is fine and good. They've got it. Actually, it's in the mail on the way back now. They completely cleaned it, refurbished it, redid it, and it's on the way back down there. But in the meantime, they built me this hat. Now, you can call Rand's hat now, and you can say, look, I want the Dry Creek Wrangler. And they have a hat line. They have all the measurements. They have all the shapes and everything. And so you can call Rand's Hat, and you can tell them, I want the Dry Creek Wrangler. And that's a thing now. That's in their lineup. They have all that. So I'm very proud and very pleased that this has come about. Those are some excellent folks up there. They're just as nice and helpful, and about everything as you could ever want. And so I want you to check them out, and so we again, I'm very pleased about it. Just wanted to let you know. And when I get the old hat back and get it back on my head, we'll talk about the refurbishment. We'll look at what they did in the cleaning, and they put new ribbon, new band on it. My hats, I like, if you notice, I wanted this one. This is a dress hat. I wanted a dress hat. He said, Dwayne, it looks a little different. Well, it does, because the old hat, when you guys saw it, I'd had it for a long time. So it's kind of softer and a little more molded and shaped around because of all the rain and everything. And this one's kind of got that new rigid look, which is, it's all grand. Part of the joy of a hat. This is one of the things that we've gone completely off subject now, okay? For me, a hat it's a signature. And your hat should reflect you. Now my hats, they reflect. I have a very eclectic background, okay, in my history. Now this hat is going to, in time, this front is going to get curved down a little bit more, like the brown one was. And it will wind up curving down a bit more in the back. And it'll come up. So there's a mixture of my wrangling, packing, my southern Kentucky background, a little bit of hillbilly, a little bit of redneck, a little bit of mountain man, a little bit of cowboy. So my hat becomes unique because it becomes a signature of who I am. So order a hat, but don't be afraid to shape that hat and to
Personalize?
Yeah, personalize that hat and make that hat yours and make that hat a reflection of you. All right. So I got the wide ribbon on this one. I wanted classic. All right. I got the ribbon around the edge, which holds the curl better over time, and it's just classy, old school, old fashioned, but with a touch of me. And so talk to Rams Hatters in Billings, Montana, and get you a hat made. A house requires two things to last and to stand through the storms and the weather for generations. It needs a good roof. It needs a good foundation. All right? That's you. You work outside for a living. You have a good foundation. That means you don't buy cheap boots. All right? No hoof, no horse, no foundation, no house, no boots. All right? And get you a good roof. All right? Buy once, cry once. You can buy those $130 hats every year, or you can buy one good hat that lasts you a lifetime. Okay? All right. So anyhow, Mama, is that it? All right. Glad to have Mama back out here with me, running the camera and keeping me straight. And so we'll wish you guys the best and hope you all have a good day. And be logical, be reasonable, be safe, and have fun. And we'll catch you guys next time.